Awesome. All right, can you see my screen?
Yep, you're good.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone. All the coaches, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're excited to have you today. So before we go on, if this is your very first time, you're so welcome. If this is your second, third, fourth, fifth time, you know how we do it. We start with this introduction, like housekeeping rule thing, just to let you know what this is about and how we roll here. So basically, we have 6 series for Newbie Coaches Mastermind. And start off with the do's and don'ts, letting to know what you need to do as a coach and what you don't have to do. Then the second one will be leadership, which is what Ms. Ren is talking about. What it looks like to be a leader. I'm sure you will be amazed in the things that you're going to learn today. And then we move over to basic calls, team motivation. Is just get how you can motivate your team. Is one of the topics that people kind of get find hard to learn and master, so it's a good one to also come for. And we have closing sales. So this is all about closing trifecta sales. You want to learn how to upgrade your skills so you can learn more and close more sales. Then we go to follow-ups. So when you're done with your coaching calls, how best to do your follow-up. That's what that is for. And then number 6 is DT moderator, NAC, and coaches duties. So how you're going to keep people that you are bringing into the dream team, how you're going to keep them safe, and how you're going to keep all the people that you're also in your team. So after that, so we have this every other Monday. So next Monday, nothing is going to happen, but up Monday. And we always have fresh contents in the training site for you. So just this one will be recorded, but then next 2 weeks, we're going to have another one that will replace it. All right. So moving on, we have some housekeeping.
Waited for the flood to come. The rain fell hard for 40 days.
Hold on, just 1 moment.
Water covered the cooler, and the water covered even the highest mountains on earth. But Noah and his family were saved. God.
Okay. All right. So sorry about that. So we have some housekeeping rules for you. So first off, we want to start off with having, just give me 1 moment, let me just scroll down. Okay. Yeah, so we're here to, even though we're here to learn, we just don't want to make it look like it's a chore or something that we have to learn. We're here to have fun, even while we're here to learn something. So let's have fun, smile, and engage. Anything that Ms. Rin says that is funny, please laugh. We want to see it. And of course, we want you to stay within the topic, right? Because we want this to be an hour, a quarter or something. And we want to finish on time so we can take as many questions as possible. So what that means is that we want people to stay within the topic. So even if you're going to ask questions at the end of the presentation, let it tailor to this topic, which is leadership. If you have any other thing that you want to talk about, you can always kind of reach out to any of us that are moderating this or organizing this, so we can have that included in the next one. So that we can leave on time, which is the next one. So respect our time. I know that you guys have a lot of things that you would have been doing, but you decided to be with us here. So we want to respect that and finish on time. Again, question and answer it's free for everybody to do that. It's something that we encourage, no matter, there's no silly question. Being a coach is something that keeps evolving as the year goes by. We learn many things. And so it doesn't matter the kind of question you have in your mind, you think maybe it's silly, it's not. Probably somebody else is thinking about that. So ask questions. We want to leave it at the end of the presentation. Then you can ask your question. Another one that we have here is do your homework. As coaches, we have homework. It's not just the title. We have actually work to do, and we know that is enormous. So if you have questions on coaching issues, this is the kind of ideal steps that we want you to take. So go back to the training site and search for your answers. If it's not there, And then Google is your best friend. I usually say Google is your best friend that will never judge you. I ask silly questions. So another one is use the EWS back office and charts just to get answers. And finally, okay, before then, email your respected Energic offices. I do that a lot. Like when you have something that instead of you typing it, you can just check all these things and then probably reach out to Energic, which will help you, especially if it's related to Energic questions. And what else? And then if you feel like you don't have any other answers, right, you can then ask the coaches chat. One thing I would want to say is to use the what's it called, the search button, because we've been doing this thing for a long time. There's a high chance that the question that you're about to ask has been asked and answered many times. You'll be surprised. Instead of waiting for somebody to answer you, you can just search and have multiple answers that will help you in whatever that you're looking for. And that is it. Nizreen, that is basically it for housekeeping. You can take it over from here.
Awesome. Thank you. That's wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. And I heard that you said that people need to laugh at some things that I'm saying that are funny. So now I need to come up with some jokes, I guess. I don't know. We'll find the humor in this somewhere, guys. We're gonna get into the leadership slides. So one thing I just wanted to say as a kind of like a little disclaimer, these normally, because we've all kind of created our own slides, and Riza did a great job in doing this. So if you've watched leadership before on past ones, she's been the one to do it, but she's actually quite busy and couldn't make it for tonight because she's moving house. So I'll be going through her slides, but having said that, I've gone through them before, but I don't think I've ever presented them. So I'm basically just we'll kind of pick things apart together and, for good discussion, because there's some really good solid stuff in here. Leadership is a really, really important topic because it kind of, in a way, defines and sets the pace of what we do. And yet I think it's one area that, to be honest, after being a coach now for a few years and hearing feedback and seeing, what you guys put on the surveys and stuff like that, it's clear to me that there are a group of coaches in our community that really struggle with leadership. And, this is not something that we're just kind of expected to just be in and just be super good at right off the top. We all learn this, and we all have our strengths, and we all have our areas that we can, that will lead into strengths, right? I love this. Can you commit to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? Some things in our jobs, or our responsibilities as a leader have to be devoid of emotion because we have a lot on our shoulders to take care of. And then other things, where the passion comes in, leaders are incredibly caring. Oops, I think I'm on. Yeah, that's right. We're incredibly caring, and we care about our teams too, right? So a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way, right? Think about all the bosses that you've had in the past. I've had a few. And there's been some, I remember the only job that I remember not caring about anymore, that I remember allowing myself to get fired from after 2 years, was because the manager, in the busiest hours of the night where we were running around like headless chickens, would sit in the office on his butt and not do anything. He did not go the way and show the way. And as a result, didn't know the way either, because he didn't roll up his sleeves. He wasn't in the trenches with us, but a leader is always in the trenches with you. We roll up our sleeves and we get in there, right? Being a leader has nothing to do with rank or income. So if that is something that weighs you down, maybe because you are a 4A or a 5A or what have you, then you got to get rid of that, guys, because there's a lot of strong leaders that I see even all around me, even on my team, that are showing leadership qualities, and they're far from being a 6A. It's not about that at all. And on the flip side, being a 6A it means that you have a 6A account. It doesn't mean that you're a leader. It means that you have, we either exhibit leadership, we live it. It's not a matter of a 6A account. Do you see what I mean? Everything to do with compassion for your community and your team. You're not a manager that dictates. So you're not like that manager I was just describing. You choose to be a leader that asks and listens. I love that. Seeks to help others succeed. Step one, leading by example. This is always the rule of thumb, caring about your people and asking how you can help. And what is a good leader? Leaders do not create followers, they create more leaders. We've said this a lot of times before in the community, in the same way that we're not creating, it's almost like, when eagles even come on board, we're nurturing them. We're not kind of molding and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like creating creating more leaders is what actually builds and scales our business, because we know that they're going to be self-sufficient eventually, to go and do their thing and then just repeat the process. Leaders are not trained, they are self-made. They hold themselves accountable. A good leader makes you feel valued. And again, like, I've never taken a leadership course in my life, but I can tell you I've learned so much just based on the good leadership that has been presented to me in my life, even in my jobs, as well as the bad, the lack of leadership. Because it's not rocket science. It's not, you don't have to, I didn't have to take any type of special course for me to know that firsthand as an employee that I don't feel good when someone that's supposed to support me ignores me and lets me just run rampant and just drown in on my own kind of thing. And then you go to another job and you find, oh, this person's actually standing up for their staff and actually getting in there and actually doing a lot of the same tasks that we're paid to do. You know what I mean? Like it's a huge difference. Self-motivation, kindness, and helpfulness. That's what we do. And I would say about the self-motivation, it's not just that we have to be self-motivated, but also exhibit and encourage motivation in other people. And I see this term come up a lot on that survey. Every month I see you guys writing this. How do I motivate my team? I want help motivating my team. And I just want to say this. We cannot motivate. We inspire, we lead by example, but we have to be in control of motivating ourselves so that people around us are going to, whether it's, mindset shift or connecting with their why or being encouraged because they just learned a new skill to implement it. We do not motivate and cannot motivate other people. We can inspire people so that they can find that motivation in themselves. I truly believe that. Speaking of which, this is actually a good segue right here. What you can control and what you can't control. Leaders do not control others. Even if we tried, it just doesn't work that way. We will attract better people once you believe that you are enough. You're not supposed to be, the king or queen or president, or you're not supposed to be like some Olympian. Like, look, it's not about that. Again, the best leadership that was exhibited to me, at least in my life, were people that were down to earth, grounded, authentic human beings. Now, how could they be? One of the reasons why they exhibited good leadership was also because they were willing to guide, willing to teach as well as learn, because they did have also more skills than the rest of us, but they still were grounded and put themselves on the same level, not like above, so the things that you can't control: other people's feelings, other people's behavior, their actions, their words, and their thoughts. So if you're laying a boundary with your team or a person on your team, you cannot control how they're going to react. But if you know it's the right thing to do, that's what you do. If a lot of people are saying, well, the time for the team Zoom doesn't work for me, and it doesn't work for me. It's like, I've heard of teams like trying to organize this and they're trying to make everybody happy. Look, global team, global community, you will not pick a time for a monthly Zoom that is going to be perfectly suited for everybody if you have a very globally diverse team. And at some point you just have to pull the trigger and just say, okay, well, the decision is that we're going to do it on this day and the same time every month, or whatever it is you decide. Like certain things like that, if it makes people upset, they got to just deal with that. Like it's not, when, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's some people I think that are, so this is what going back to that first thing, where was that again? I'm just going to flip back here. Can you commit to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? This is kind of a little bit connected to that, in that some things don't, I think some things that where we attach our emotions too much will be at a detriment, you know? Whereas other aspects, of course, we're not robots. Obviously, our work wouldn't be, as great as it can be if we don't have compassion and empathy and passion for what we do, even in this business. But there's certain places where emotion it can get in the way. Just depends on what it is. But the things that you can control, because we're talking about other people, right? This is the outside circle, and it's illustrated so beautifully here. The things that you can control, your stuff, your own thoughts, your own words, your actions, your behaviors, your feelings. So how you communicate with your team, you can control that. You can control how you respond to someone's question or a sticky situation that comes up. You can control your feelings, even if the feelings, like, let's say you post something in your team chat and it's crickets, not even a single thumbs up, not a single response, like nothing. Are you going to let that translate to, they don't like me? Like, or maybe it's just, it's a slow day, or maybe you can like look and see, well, people have seen my message. Okay. I've had stuff in my chat where it's got a lot of attention, and other days where it doesn't. You can't internalize those things, right? But these are the things that we have control over. Okay, moving on. So the dream team is a safe place, and I'm so glad that it is. It's going back to that moderator stuff, which is, it was at Stella, it was at number 6, I think it was, on the slides. So yeah, I mean, the moderating of the dream team and making sure it stays a safe place. I mean, it's important, especially as we get so big. No matter how long you have traveled in the wrong direction, you can always turn around. Never be a prisoner of your past mistakes. Recognize that mistakes are simply a lesson, not a life sentence, and we will make mistakes. You are not expected to have every single answer for your team. You are not, and if you're not caught, but like put in a situation where it's evident that you don't know the answer, embrace that. Embrace it, because you're not expected to know every single thing. And if you do make a mistake, then you own it. It's just, that's what also a good leader does. You will never be criticized by someone who's doing more than you. You will only be criticized by someone doing less. So again, when it comes to, when I think about the very few times, thankfully, it's only been like maybe 2 or 3 people in 5 years and counting, where they've had maybe an issue with something that I implemented, whether it could be even something positive, like a challenge. Well, I don't think that the prizes are really fair in Australian, blah, 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 blah. Or I don't think, some kind of pushback of some kind. Or, I don't want to do the paperwork because, I thought that that's what you're supposed to do, or something like that. Any type of attitude or any type of pushback. If it ever resulted in something like that and it came back with some criticism, I always knew it was coming from someone, guess what, who was never really plugged in the first place. It was never coming from any high achiever on my team, never coming from someone who's plugged in, even if they're struggling, but plugged in and present and good and coachable, right? So just keep that in mind. And remember that also, of course, when it comes to any naysayers on our posts and on our ads and stuff like that, these are not people that are experts in the same field that we are. They're usually saying these types of things. So a leader is someone who has become stronger because of their journey, realizing that their journey is far from over, as it continues always, and now seeks to help others on their own journey, just as someone helped them on theirs. And again, when I think about that, I think about the great examples of leadership that I've had at the jobs that I've had, and even in this community as well. A great leader does massive inner work. I'm going to leave that there for just a second, because this is paramount. And I think between being so busy and caught up with needing to know all the paperwork and all the international stuff and all this answer and that answer. And just, guys, we got to give ourselves a break when you are brand new at this. And even if you're not, but I remember when I had a coach coming on, she's a veteran coach now, but in the beginning, her method and approach in life and just in her past jobs was always get all her ducks in a row and then get started. And I tried to tell her, you cannot do that approach with this role because there's just too much. I suggest go easier on yourself, because if you try and get all the facts and all the international paperwork of all the offices when you just might not even use half of them, it's a whole waste of energy. As just one example, right? There's just so much on our tasks and stuff like that, and we're so caught up with all of those things that we forget that the most important is in here. Our mindset will reflect so easily to our team. It doesn't mean that we're not allowed to have bad days, because we will, whether it's in our business or in our personal life. But the massive inner work that we do is included in the same things that we expect from our team, which includes mindset work, which includes our blocks, the blocks that can come from either mindset or emotional or what have you. So, or lack of boundaries, lack of valuing ourselves, and lack of confidence, maybe us listening to those, inner negative voices. That kind of inner work will 100,000% translate to our team if we don't, it doesn't mean that we have to stop everything and take care of that first and then go back to coaching. This can be done, actually, I truly believe, at the same time. In fact, it's better when it's at the same time, because all these different incidences and circumstances and scenarios in our role as a coach and as a business owner are the prime opportunities that will kind of bring these things to the surface. So when that happens, please, guys, don't ignore it. Take it as a little sign and a reminder from the universe to say, keep working on this. This is important. It's not just for your team. It's for you. It's kind of like the same old thing. You can't love other people until you love yourself, right? So to be a great leader, start on the inside. It's not about the physical work, but about mental and emotional work. When you're grounded, commit to building your confidence and maintain your mindset. This translates to your team. It will be super obvious, and everyone wins when you're doing that inner work, right? You can even put out a challenge, whether it's a go live challenge or a reading a book together challenge. It doesn't have to be the magic, because if we've already done that, but it can be something else that actually hits home with one of these things, and you can partake in it with them. Not just initiate the challenge, but be a part of it. When our sense of purpose falls mute, we procrastinate, but when we focus on what's important to us, we are gifted with the energy and direction, making even complicated tasks much simpler. Good leaders make very intentional choices around their mind and body. They value their physical and mental health. They know that a neglected body will eventually affect their cognitive capacity and emotional intelligence, and a scattered mind will leave them prone to further stress and poor judgment. I think that speaks for itself. Leadership is an action, not a position. Love this. Love it. 100%. 100%. Once you do your inner work, then you can be in a place of gratitude, passion, and service. Leaders should cultivate gratitude because it breeds engagement, more positive interactions, and builds resistance. What's more, gratitude helps you acknowledge your accomplishments. Thankfulness encourages you to focus on successes, schedule time daily to reflect with gratitude. Now, this is kind of more in a kind of personal sense, but let me ask you, how often do you express your gratitude to your team? Do they know how much you value them? Or are you in a position a lot of times where you feel like, I don't think that they value me, and you always want that from them? Do you know, I think a lot of times we just might not get that from our team. We can get that from other sources. If that's something that is a hole that needs to be filled, I think that's legitimate, right? Because leadership can be lonely. And I think that's something not talked about here, but let's be real, it can be, because there's more weight on our shoulders and whatnot. But I would say lean on your cross lines for that. But your team needs to know how much they're valued by you, whether it's like shout outs in your team chat for any tiny little win or big stuff, all the stuff. It's, like doing shout outs on each individual person, or just like, it's not just about every, I would say a combination of like sending things in your chat that are inspirational and loving and caring things to the whole group, but also with individuals. I think that's really, really important. If someone presents a really good idea for everybody else as well, thank them for it in front of everybody. Anything to uplift them and highlight, I think, is a beautiful thing. When everyone is in a place of gratitude, it fosters teamwork and cooperation and promotes empathy, and this habit must start at the top. And funny enough, people copy because you're leading by example. So when they see you, it's not like you have to actually tell people, hey guys, this is a good idea, do this. Because when they watch you doing it and then they see the response and they see the energy just blossom and really, uplift everybody and really, cultivate something really healthy and on your team, other people start doing it on their own. It's wonderful because they're just copying what you've done, and because they think, oh, that makes us feel good, let me do that. I want to do that for somebody too. Even leaders have bad days, which is true. That's a given. When you're having an off day or a week, or going silent on your team is not the answer, and neither is going MIA. It's just not. I mean, if you had a brick and mortar business and you had a bad week or 2 weeks and you walked away, nobody's going to be paid. Like, your employees can't be paid, your lease will not be paid, and your business might not be there when you get back. You have to find a way to nurture what's going on, and so you're not ignoring those things, right? But also, coaches just can't just bow out like that. It just there's other solutions, so that you're not like no one wants to be fake. It's not about that, right? But there are other solutions, I think. Instead, try listening to music, journaling, gardening, cooking, singing or dancing, meditation or reading, anything to nourish you, center you, and lift you up. So that's, again, on a personal note. To your team, what can you do? Other solutions. I'm just going to throw some stuff out there. Be honest. I mean, you don't have to be fully transparent if there's something personal, but just like say, guys, you know what? I've got a really, really big thing going on. And I'm not going to be as vocal as normal, but I'm still here. I'm still reading everything, and I will still be showing up every day. So you still be present in your chat, throw something in your chat so that they still know you're there. Private message a couple of your other leaders and just say, hey guys, can you just for this week, can you, I need you a little bit more this time. And I guarantee they will band together for you, it's not all on you. And so there's so many other things that can be done rather than just ghosting, because that just, it's not a solution, and it's going to downward spiral from there. Okay. To truly be a leader is to silence your ego, personal wants for just enough time to make the world a little bit better. Oh, that's beautiful. Don't take things personally. Ways to tend to let our ego interrupt our leadership. When we take it so hard when team members don't listen or aren't coachable. They're free to take or leave our advice. That's true, right? If they're smart, they're going to take it. But if not, it's their choice and their lesson. It will cost them the time and money if they don't take that advice. When your team's buyers don't proceed further, again, this is their choice. You don't know the reasons why. I have seen buyers leave the dream team on their own, unfriend, and then months later, boom, buy in, trifecta. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know why they could be just stepping away, or maybe ghosting you because they're like, I don't want all these notifications. Maybe it's nothing about you personally. And if it is, you don't know, and it doesn't matter anyway. When your ads are not working, it's not you. Like, as in, it's not you personally. It's not you, Stella. It's something technical. It's something about the targeting. It's something about the ad itself, but it's not you. Sorry, Stella, because you're the only one I can see right there. But it's not, it's right, it's not us. It's not on you. It's not about you. It's your ad, so keep testing something different, retarget, try again, keep learning. It's the actual thing, not you. If a team member sees but doesn't respond to your chat, we mentioned this earlier, right? Yes, try creative ideas to generate movement, but remember, it's not always about you. Sometimes there's another reason. In fact, most of the time there's another reason. You know why? People have their own lives. People have their own things going on. And they also have their own, they're also thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you. They're not worrying about, oh, just to make Nis feel better, I better write something back. They're gonna write or not write, depending, and sometimes they'll see it and then they'll have a positive response, but not necessarily, that response might not be in an emoji or in a text back, you know? So when your team expects you to know it all, be humble, admit that you don't know it all, but let them see a coach who cares, who's committed to learning and helping them. It's always like, I remember as a server hearing the same thing, priding yourself on knowing as much as you can, but if someone stumps you with a question, what do you respond? You know what? I'm not sure about that, but I'm going to find out. And you literally go immediately and you find out. Your job is to find the answer, not necessarily always know the answer. Especially now, like we've got these new income streams, like there's a lot of learning going on. We are all newbies again. So with the new income stream. So this is a perfect example with that. Own your I am. So I believe this is the last one. So too often in an attempt to be nice or to fit in, we miss the opportunity to stand in owning our identity and our actions. We then wonder why we're being mired in low value activities when our team doesn't do well and if others don't follow our lead. Own your whole package. Put forward your strengths and your wins and work on your shortcomings and mistakes, because we all have both. None of you are short of strengths and skill sets. None of you. In the same way, we all have our shortcomings. So we all bring forward both, just different ones, right? Leadership is a skill that can be learned, and no one is perfect, and perfect is boring anyway, is robotic, is predictable. It's, nobody wants perfect. But to help you with imposter syndrome, I don't know if you guys know what that means. Imposter syndrome means is like when we feel all of a sudden like I'm a fraud. No one's going to believe me. What do I? So I'm supposed to be an expert. No one's going to, they're going to think that I'm full of it. Like I'm full of BS. No. You are an expert. You're an expert still in learning, right? You still know, all of you, even as new coaches, you still know so much more than someone who's just a lead entering a funnel somewhere and has no idea what this is all about. You have entered all of this into this role because you've been trained for this. And so you may not have gone through every single coaching scenario, but you're definitely an expert in that. And there's still more to learn always, right? So, but to help you with the imposter syndrome, try some affirmation. Say these anytime, but especially if you don't yet believe them. Say them until you do believe them. I am an outstanding leader who earned her right to be here. So true. I am superior to negative thoughts and low actions. I am focused and persistent. I was given a job and a role others trust with me. And we don't just let anybody in. We used to, and we found out that's not the way. We don't just let anyone in the door of being a coach. And you're all here. Sorry, I just added that in there because it's true. Yeah, remember, leaders don't create more followers, they create more leaders. I think that's it.
Wow. I need to slide into Riza's DM this night. This is a powerful presentation. You nailed it.
Oh, great. Well, there's some really good stuff here that she put in. Like, yeah. Really hit the mark in so many different facets of this topic. And yeah, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about.
This is my first time. I haven't presented with Riza before. I haven't. So this is my first time of even seeing it. It's reach, right? I love it. I have to tell her about it. Is it amazing?
It is.
Yeah.
I've moderated for her doing her own slides before, but yeah, it's some really, really good info, really good info. So guys, do you have any, let's just open it up first anyway to any comments or shares or questions about this topic?
And the one that struck me the most, which is something I'm even doing, is the inner work part. Because I feel like, that's where it all starts. It flows from within out. And most times we do out in, right? So inner work is for sure the best thing we can ever do for ourselves, what we're doing, so that you build yourself in a way that nothing really affects you. Like you're building not really a wall of defense, but it's just more like knowing your identity outside your accolades, if I may use that word, your achievement and everything. Is just knowing who you are as a person, your identity. Who is this person even without anything? Who is this person out of, like, behind closed doors? Building that inner work. Like, I really love it. And to be honest, this is my own opinion. Like, being a coach is a gift, because I would say personally that how much I've grown over the years, I'm not sure I would be in that path if I wasn't a coach. So many things, like, I didn't really pay too much attention about boundaries. I was like, oh, let us all move, but no, all that kind of stuff. But learning boundaries, it was new to me, because they will be like saying no, your person is gonna feel bad, but you just have to do it because of your own health, right? Sometimes we put everybody else's issues and everything first. And if you're not really taking care of yourself, your family will suffer for it, and different things. So I'm really blessed to be a coach, because you keep learning, you keep being in people's lives and learning. So for me, it's a gift beyond the title and the money. Is a gift and opportunity to grow, see different levels of yourself. Like, yeah.
Totally. I've definitely felt that I've grown and been challenged to grow more in my role as a coach than as a mentor on my just as like because that's a perfect segue and starting point, right? But as a mentor and a business owner, I've definitely learned a lot, and that's, of course, you continue to learn there. But I think I've definitely learned more as a coach, because you're just taking on more and just different things. It's been, I think that's well put, Stella. It is a gift. Were there any questions in the chat, or not really? I don't think so. Is there a particular area that you guys struggle with in terms of leadership? I'm putting this out there for you since nobody had a question. So anything around boundary setting or hosting Zooms or engaging and inspiring your team, or
For me, Nisreen, I agree when you said that it's not up to us as coaches to try to motivate. That has to come from the person. Like, my coaches can't motivate me. That's me that has to show up to my business every day and do what I need to do to make it go. To inspire, I think is different. And I know for me, with my personal flock chat, when you said you kind of, if anybody hears crickets, and so it's like, okay, I make sure I take at all, and I feel like I'm the one that's in there a lot, trying to get that momentum going. And there's maybe one or two, it's more the girls that are plugged in, of course, that answer. But it's, I've tried to do like little incentives. Even within cruises, I'm going to do something for June where I give like an incentive back for people that sign up. I'm going to help you with your cost type of thing, like just trying different things to get them excited and engaged and motivated. And I know it's not for me to just totally be in there all the time. It's for them to help each other too. But to get that rolling, I'm finding that a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't
definitely.
know.
It's tricky, and I think it comes down to the individuals. Like, I've got a couple of chats. I've got my regular team chat, and you're right, the ones that are unplugged are just never gonna,
Yeah.
And then I started for in-cruises. I started an in-cruises chat only because I find that the in-cruises chat for everybody is just a whole lot of people not plugged in and going to the training and whatnot. So I wanted my people to, so I kind of separated that. But I do moderate a couple of other chats, and only just regional chats. And just as an example, Monica, one of them is almost 2,000 people. That's bigger than my chat. And yet it's so quiet. And someone had said in there the other day, because I do a pop-up, one of those bot reminders, just like mentioning that there's no seasoning, blah, blah, blah. And anyone that asks for seasoning will be removed, and just making another suggestion. So it's just a regular thing that comes up like 3-4 times a week. And someone commented in there the other day saying, I don't see anything in this chat except that message. And I said, well, a chat's only going to be as busy as the people that use it. And it's periodically being used for stuff, but if nobody uses it, that is going to be everything that the only thing that you see. When coaches start off, and I know with my other coaches too, when they start out and it's just a small team initially, it's even more of a challenge in the beginning because because of that. But I think it's like, I don't think any chat is ever going to have every single person engaged. We all have people that are just super quiet and not even plugging into the chat. But in terms of incentives, in terms of challenges, those are really good things to get them get them engaged and stuff. But it's tough because you don't want to, you can't take it personally, right? But as soon as, I can promise you, if you ever stopped, it would just go completely. So it is still honest to stay consistent. Do you have anybody on your team that is like a 4A or like also like, or 3A that's or a 3A that's kind of showing some leadership qualities and stuff?
I have a girl that's almost 4A, and then I actually just did an interview with my mentee's mentee that's will be a very strong leader, although to be that, she has to be more, because I told her today, get on the flock and flock. Like I just said, you need to be in there, because she's like, well, let me know, message me when there's a Zoom. And I said, well, I put it in the group chat. Oh, I'm so horrible at checking that. I said, I know, you need to go, you need to go to flock because it's in there. I'm not going to chase you and tell individually when there's a Zoom, when there's a group Zoom, right? If one-on-one, that's different. So if she could get that and be, I said, it would help the entire team if they saw a little bit of engagement from you as well, and instead of just me all the time. It's usually me and 2 other girls that are the most in there. And it does get frustrating because you feel like, okay, what am I not doing? But that at the end of the day is their decision, whether they again show up and interact, and right, I guess. But they, otherwise, she's got very good mindset, she's got very good, like, her thought process is there. I just think she just needs to find it more important, because it is an important tool for us to stay connected. So,
and she has mentees. This one. Well, all the more reason.
Absolutely.
She needs to be checking flock more than once a day then.
Absolutely. Because I've noticed her mentees are not in the chat engaging as much either. So I said, if they see you in there kind of leading by example, then it's going to just domino effect there. So that's a work in progress. That's on my list of trying to, get her in there.
Are you not by yourself, but like, are you a standalone chat? Like just you, Monica's the only coach?
I have my own
part
chat,
of a bigger,
and then I'm part of a bigger one too. Like they asked me to kind of still stay in their group, because she said, if you go and take your team, she says, we're pretty much left with nobody. And I said, well, I don't mind staying, because I learn from you still, like, more than I do, right? So and the more people that are there to collaborate, to learn from each other, absolutely. And then I have my own chat as well.
Yeah. I know some of my coaches do this. They all have that actually. But some of them have their teams in my chat and others don't, just because of the timing of when we started on Flock and all that stuff. So I think it's just it's a consistency thing, and it does continue to it continues to get better. But as long as we are consistent as leaders, consistent in the communication, consistent with the engagement and the ideas and the challenges and all of that stuff. I mean, yeah, just when you have mentors that are not rising up, and like you got to kind of poke them, it's like poke them with a stick and just like say, hey, your team's not engaged because guess what?
You're not. Yes.
It's like if they will monkey see, monkey do.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but I told this to one of my early coaches when she started, because she's like, Nis, I held a Zoom and one person showed up. And I'm like, good for you. Like the show goes on, and then you know what you do? You don't record it. You can don't record it and then start talking about it in the chat so that other people will see, oh, what did we miss? Shoot. We don't know, not like stuff that goes over their head, but like stuff like incentive stuff, you know what I mean? Or you can record it or whatever. There's like so many other things. I think when it comes to our teams, guys, I don't know about you, Stella, if you agree with this or not, kind of like advertising, we got to test stuff.
Yeah.
Play around with things and test and see, what works, what doesn't work, and what they respond to. But I know for a fact that we got to be consistent, as painful as it is with the lack of response and stuff like that. It's just got to be that way, because if we're not, then then there's nothing left. But
absolutely.
The people that are engaged, though, I would just say, like, give them as much shout outs and like and support and lift them up, and and if they can be as kind of vocal as you are, then they will see more people than just you. And I would also get I don't know if you've done this too, like this really kind of leveled things up for me. We revamped our Facebook group, and I started bringing in, I call it the Press Play series, Go Live series, where I'll interview another leader, and it's in our privacy of our Facebook group. So it's not like an interview to post on our page, but so that I'm just like, because you guys just keep hearing from me. Some of you don't listen, some of you do, which is great. But just so that you can hear from other people, it's like, a good, and same with in-cruises, by the way. I did this with a couple of people, one that's a cross line and another that's a down line. I said, hey, if you don't have some people responding with in-cruises, I'll make a video for your team. Tell them why I love in-cruises, and they can listen to it if they're not listening to you. And if you can do that for me too. She's like, yeah, awesome. Kristen Clark and I did that for each other. And I did that for one of my coaches. Because sometimes people are just like, not because they don't like us, but because they hear the same thing from us. And all of a sudden, like, oh, who's this? Oh,
yeah. And
then all of a sudden the same thing, they're like, oh, and they just resonate with something that they said. And you're like, I've been saying that for so many months. As long as you finally get it, I don't care. It's fine.
No, that's great. Okay. That's good. Thank you.
That makes sense.
Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Stella?
Yeah, I see
What
that.
are your thoughts?
The part where somebody else says something, I just feel like that's how life is in general. Like, some things that you've heard so many times, right? But you just hear it from somebody else, it just clicks. You're wondering, like, it's not like you've never heard that in all your life. It's just that there's some people that kind of says it, I don't know, maybe because of how you were in your mindset at that moment, or I don't know, you just get it. So that kind of makes sense. I will try it.
Yeah, because sometimes it's also in just a simple, innocent, difference in how it's worded. And all of a sudden it just jives and makes sense to somebody. And it's the exact same message. We're not trying to make it difficult, but we all have a different way of communicating. And maybe it's just sometimes it just comes down to that.
Yeah, we'll definitely try. A good idea.
Yeah, I think I want to say that at times I think that, hello, my name is Michelle, by the way.
Hey,
I
Michelle.
want to say hi, Ms. Reem. I think that people become familiar with us, our team people. That's one of the things I've also noticed, that they become very familiar with us, and also as we keep on talking and all, at times they don't take it like you're saying, but when somebody else comes, and often maybe people also respect ranks, no matter what. So if another person comes who is of a bit of a higher rank than maybe you or something, you see that they tend to listen to that person. So yeah, maybe you can try that too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a point. I mean, we say that rank doesn't matter in that sense. I mean, to a certain degree, but you're right. I mean, with rank does come experience, and sometimes it just perks up people's ears. Yeah. How do you guys show appreciation for your teams? Or what are some ideas that maybe you can think of that you haven't tried, or stuff you've tried?
For me, I have not tried with incentives yet. Um, Actually, I've not really tried any um, any way of I only do the postings on my page. And when somebody does something, like maybe put together a project that we are all doing together, I congratulate the person and all. But I've not really started with incentives yet, or things like that to engage my team more. And I also have maybe with my team, we are about 14 in my team, but only 4 are very engaged. The rest are so quiet, and also I'm also struggling with that a lot. And like I've taken it all, like maybe I have to do a personal, do a call to each of them or something and talk to them. Maybe they're shy. I don't know. I mean, because I've been trying to reach out to them and all, but I really don't know. So I'm here to try these new, try incentives, try if we have to do a project together, like an activity together, read together, or do go live together, something. I'm here to try all those ones here. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna give a shout out actually right now, only because her idea was so good. But one of my coaches, a junior coach, Stella, because she's Stella Lynn on my team, and she's here tonight. She had a great idea that she approached me with one day, and I just said, "Oh my God, that's wonderful." She said, Stella, are you here? Do you want to come on? I don't know if you want to come on camera just to say it, but it was when you suggested the go live idea where someone would say 3 things that they or name 3 people that in the community on their team that they appreciate and what they appreciate about them, and then nominate somebody else to go and continue it. Is she still here? I'm just going through.
Yeah, she is.
Is she?
That's Lin Nguyen, right?
Stella Lynn. But anyways, I saw her comment down below, so maybe she's busy with the kids. But anyway, that was her idea, and it was so fantastic. It was so fantastic because it was in the privacy of our Facebook group, and the whole concept of it was team members uplifting each other is a beautiful idea. We do accountability partners on our team as well. So it's not by force or anything like that, only people that want to come forward to take part. And then I keep track of who's been with who in the past, and I get the list of people that want to do it and then match them up. And then they have, 4 weeks to work on a goal together. Any types of incentives too, guys, you can get creative. It doesn't have to always be monetary, or it doesn't have to be monetary. You know what I mean? Like, it can be like a lot of different things. You can bring on, you can do a one-on-one Zoom with them. You can arrange a one-on-one Zoom with somebody else, a laser coaching type of thing. I mean, you can get as creative as you need to be without, or even just like a recognition on your next Zoom, just to kind of like just even the recognition of what they did in some way, creating a certificate or something like that. But People like to be recognized. They like to be uplifted. You know, we all need that. But you know, at some, even in the chat, even in your team chat, like doing like random shout outs, like, and Stella Lynn also has done this as well. Like, so when people are just launching their first likes campaign, hey, shout out so and so, she just launched her first likes campaign. Hey, awesome. Or shout out to someone who just created their business page, or shout out just like, and it doesn't get everybody, but it definitely gets the attention of some people in the chat, and then getting some congratulations for those new achievements is so important for them. Anyway, just some ideas.
You can also do that. I know I've done, and I feel that public, you know, affirming someone publicly is good, but also affirming somebody privately. Like, we know things you might not really want other people to hear, but you just want to talk from your heart and then tell them. That message, they usually save it. No matter what you do, they will always remember that particular thing that you said. So even if you don't want to like, oh, but you can still like slide into their DM and just say one or two things from your heart. Not necessarily that you want people to see that you're kind of praising this person, but just from your heart.
Totally, I agree. Here's another idea, guys. On that, kind of piggybacking on that idea, Stella. If you happen to know somebody, let's say someone on your team, a mentee who really looks up to so-and-so, like someone that they follow, like in the community, that's not on your team, and you happen to know this, or you could maybe discreetly find out, you can send that person a private message and just say, you know, it would mean the world to me, and I know it would mean the world to her or him. Would you be able to send like, or record like a voice message of some kind or whatever with the, you know, of encouragement to this person? I asked a few leaders to do this but not for anyone in particular, but for my team. And on one of our team Zooms, I think it was the last one of the end of the year, I just played them all, and they were all voice messages. One was from Franco, one was from the McCullums, one was from Dave and Roxanne, one was from Kristen Clark, and I think Sarah. There was a fifth one, but they were all just voice messages, and they addressed them personally. Hey, Freedom Builders, it's Dave and Roxanne Obizo. We wanted to say, and like, even just that, but doing it to someone personally, like by calling them by name like that, like there's a prize, there's a gift that you can pass on that costs you nothing except just reaching out. We have a lot, like, look at how many people we can utilize, right? In the community. Lots and lots.
I think this person, Kathy, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I saw your hand raised before. Sorry. I know probably you had a question. You can unmute yourself. Hi.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for this meeting. I'm sorry for the bad lighting. Maybe you already answered that question, but this is my second meeting. What do you think about recording the Zoom meetings? I have a monthly Zoom meeting. I just started with my team, and we are a small team, but I was wondering, at what point do we not record the meeting, so to encourage people to be there live, but at the same time, like you said at the beginning, it's so difficult to choose a date where everybody is there. So some people, it's not their fault, they don't do it on purpose, it's just their schedule, they're not able to be there. And if we say something very important in the meeting, they would love to, you know, to see the replay. So when do you decide not to record just to encourage them to be there live? Is it going with the size of the group, or what are your thoughts about that? I just want to know what you guys do.
What do you think, Stella?
I record mine. I know at some point when, you know, when people weren't coming and you're like, okay, I'm not recording. You know, that kind of feel. You're like, you know, I'm done recording. But at some point, I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, I want you guys to grow, right? Your win is my win. So I just started recording back. But I just feel like, and sometimes I don't even when I'm done recording, I don't just say, oh, this is the recording. I wait for people that was at that time, right? When I started recording back again, I'm like, I'm going to wait to see who is going to ask me of that. Do you know what I mean? And that's the person I'm going to give. But now I just record.
Okay.
I've heard of some coaches that don't record just for that tactic, you know, like you snooze, you lose. But I've always recorded mine because I'm, you know, it's like kind of like what you just said, Stella, like that's our job. Like we have to provide this information. To withhold it just to try, like, I think that's just I don't think it doesn't work for me anyway. So what I've done is and I have people from all different time zones. I think some of them are not directly under me, some of them are. Like I have one mentee, for example, who thought in cruises was a subdivision of Enagic, and so that's why she just discarded it. So we had this one-on-one Zoom yesterday, and as I was telling her about it, she was like, I need to sign up. You know, like, I'm like, she's like, why didn't you tell us about this? I'm like, girl, I've been talking about it all month. Where have you been? And it's because we're 17 hours apart. She posts wicked on her page every day. And she's doing really well, but she's never been to a Zoom because of the time thing, right? So what I decided to do is, like, I've got to do a Zoom that also suits my schedule. Like, I'm here to serve my team, but I'm not going to do a 7 a.m. Zoom. I'm sorry, guys. I don't care if it's a better time for you. It's not a good time for me. So if you want me to be coherent, it's going to have to be at a time that works for me. And changing the time is not advisable because then they're never going to get into a routine of it. So we ended up landing on, and we've done this consistently now, 10 a.m. My time, which is in Vancouver, Pacific time, on the first Saturday of every month. And they have the whole month to kind of prepare and lead up to it and whatnot. But in addition to that, because it's such a big time gap, I also do pop-up Zooms every week. So I try and do them like once a week, and I do not record those because they're pop-up Zooms and they're not like for everybody. They're meant to, and I do the times with them sporadically. So I'll do one at 9 a.m. I'll do one at 5 p.m. I'll do one at 8 p.m. I'll do one at 3 p.m. Just so that, and I announce it usually a day in advance or so that people are like, and sometimes people like in Singapore are like, oh yeah, I'll be there, because they want to be at the regular one, but they can't. And so the rule of thumb is they're 30 minutes only, and they're not recorded, and anybody can come. And I'm not like, oh, I have to have a high attendance. You know, they're not mandatory. I say to everybody, the monthly Zoom is mandatory. You are expected to be there unless you just can't. But of course, I will always record them. But the pop-up Zooms, I don't. And it seems to kind of cover enough ground, I feel like. I hope.
Okay. Well, thank you for the answers. Thank you so much.
Yep,
No problem.
Yeah, it's time for our what's it called again? Our gifts. So who wants to have the opportunity to speak to one of the 6 A's? Let me see in the chat if you want. Remember, if you want something, you go for it. Who wants? I want to see them in the chat. Who wants? I want.
It's a great opportunity, guys. A one-on-one Zoom with a 6A.
Shout it out loud. Universe is me.
There's a lot of, look at that. Everybody wants it.
Yeah.
Everybody. Awesome.
Yeah.
So Stella, you tell me, are we going to announce who it is after the winner, or I'm going to leave that up to you.
Okay, you mean the person, or just sliding into the person's DM, telling the person kind of thing?
No, like let everybody here know who the 6A is.
Definitely. But okay, let me share my my, what's it called? My screen. Okay, just getting close, fingers crossed. You can read it. This is what I was busy doing when Nizreen was presenting. I hope
getting those names.
Yeah, I hope I wrote down the names well because I was squinting like I can't see. Okay.
It's a nice looking wheel.
Yeah. If your name is not here, please let me know. Last chance. Okay. Are you ready? Let's do it.
Spin that wheel.
Yeah. Spin this, if I remember how to spin the wheel. Yeah.
Freezing. Manu. Woohoo!
You're very well. Congrats. Please, let's say,
Congratulations.
let's say congrats in the chat, please. There's a seed you're sowing for the next one you're going to come. It will be your name that will be chosen. I'll have to stop sharing. Okay, let me see. Kathy, your hand is still raised. Do you want to say something?
Oh no, I'm saying congratulations.
Oh,